In a recent global survey, leaders and managers were asked to describe the single greatest cause of conflict within their organisations. And I was surprised to learn, and perhaps you will too, that they described that it wasn't differences arising from the gender gap or even the culture gap. It was the generation or the age gap that was causing the most conflict and frustration within teams. And right now around the world, this is the first time in human history where you may well have 5 very different generations working with each other on a daily basis. And while the generation gap is nothing new, it is certainly wider than it's ever been before, but it's also more important than it's ever been before. And I've spent the last 5 years tracking some of these demographic trends, looking at how generations differ around the world and why the differences between groups tend to lead to misunderstandings, friction, and conflict, even stress within a team or organisation. And what I try to do in this session called Navigating the Generational Maze is to look at not just the labels, because then there's a danger, of course, in just stopping at labels. What I try to do is go beyond the labels and look at, for each of these cohorts, what are some of the formative influences that shaped each generation's view of normal? But more importantly, how do those then, often become incompatible with other groups, leading to that conflict or that friction between generations? And this session really it's a lot of fun because we look at, differences between age groups, and typically audience members can see this and they go, that's me. But it's my mum, and it's my wife and my kids, or my students, or my young staff. And it really gives them an idea of how the different people within their lives fit together, and perhaps why some of the conflicts that arise are there. So this is an ideal session for employers, managers, leaders, educators, parents, basically anyone looking to connect across the generation gap. And the focus in this session, of course, is not just to describe how we're different, but to look at strategies and tips and ideas, insights for how to bridge those gaps so that we can get on more effectively within organisations or teams.